What if your mind was never yours to begin with? What if, each day, from the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, invisible strings were being pulled? Subtle, silent, psychological traps shaping your thoughts, reactions, and even your identity. This is not a conspiracy. It's something darker, more ancient, more personal. This is the dark game of manipulators. Hidden behind smiles, gestures, praise, silence, and calculated kindness. And the worst part? Most people never notice. But you're not most people. You've begun to suspect something. You've seen how people twist words, how they guilt you into submission, how they make you doubt your instincts, drain your energy, and erode your confidence. This video is your wake-up call. Subscribe and stay until the end, because every mind game exposed here, backed by Nietzsche's brutal insights, will arm you, not just to resist manipulation, but to become sharper, more sovereign, more unbreakable than ever. This is not just another generic motivational video. This is the dark, raw, unsanitized truth, the kind that carves warriors out of weak men and clarity from chaos. Watch closely, because the manipulators are watching you. You feel drained after certain conversations. You say yes when your soul is screaming no. You constantly second-guess yourself. You feel guilty for wanting space. You fear losing people who never respected you. This is not love. This is not friendship. This is control, wielded through psychological warfare so subtle, most never see it until it's too late. But once you know the 9 tactics, the illusion shatters. And when it does, you no longer play the role of prey. You become untouchable. These are 9 hidden mind games manipulators use against you daily, exposed through the ruthless wisdom of Nietzsche. Number 1. The guilt lever. You owe me. There is a kind of kindness that doesn't nourish you. It enslaves you. It arrives in moments of weakness, when you're vulnerable, uncertain, or struggling, and it disguises itself as generosity, a favor, an unsolicited gift, a helping hand you didn't ask for. At first it feels warm, it feels supportive, but then it begins to rot. Later, the same person will say, "After all I've done for you." The warmth turns cold. That helping hand becomes a noose. You didn't receive help. You signed an invisible contract. This is the guilt lever, a psychological trap disguised as generosity. They don't give to lift you up. They give to gain leverage. And now, you owe them. Not just your thanks, not just your effort. You owe them your silence, your loyalty, your obedience. Nietzsche once said, "He who cannot repay becomes doubly a debtor." This is how manipulators work. They do something that looks generous, then hold it over your head like a blade. You find yourself apologizing even when you did nothing wrong. You feel guilty when you say no. You hesitate to speak your truth because what if they get upset after everything they've done? And so you shrink. You comply. You betray yourself to repay a debt that should never have existed. But the truth is, real generosity does not come with chains. It liberates. It empowers. It does not require your silence in return. If someone keeps reminding you of the kindness they offered, understand this. They weren't giving, they were investing. Not in your well-being, but in your future compliance. This is not love. This is control through guilt. A hidden currency of emotional blackmail. The only way out? Burn the ledger. Refuse to carry invisible debts. Let go of the shame they've handed you. And remember, you don't owe your soul to someone just because they helped you once. You can appreciate help. You can express gratitude, but never let guilt become your compass. Because guilt is a map they drew to lead you exactly where they want you. Small, quiet, and under their thumb. You are not a debtor. You are not their possession. Your life cannot be rented with fake kindness. True strength begins the moment you reject guilt that isn't yours to carry. Number 2, the fog of confusion. You're overreacting. The most dangerous prison is not made of walls, it's made of words. Subtle, dismissive, and endlessly repeated until your reality no longer feels like your own. You're overreacting. It's not that deep. Why do you always make things such a big deal? These phrases are not innocent. They are smoke grenades, designed to cloud your vision and blur the lines between your truth and their manipulation. This is the fog of confusion, and manipulators thrive inside it. When you confront their betrayal, their coldness, their cruelty, they don't argue. They disarm. They mock. They act calm, eerily calm, while you burn with anger, while you tremble with pain. And slowly, you begin to doubt yourself. You wonder, maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe it's just me. No, it's not just you. It's strategy. As Nietzsche warned, there are no facts, only interpretations. Manipulators twist this truth. They make you question your senses, your instincts, even your sanity. They don't need to control your actions, just your perception. Once you lose trust in your own reactions, you become easier to mold, to silence, to use. They are not looking for a conversation. They're looking for compliance. And so over time, you stop speaking up. You second-guess your emotions. You apologize for things you never did. You trade your voice for the illusion of peace. But that peace is not peace. It's self-erasure. A slow death of the self, drip by drip, sigh by sigh. Here's the brutal truth. If it felt wrong, it was wrong. You do not need permission to feel hurt. You do not need external validation to trust your gut. Your pain does not require someone else's approval to be real. Because pain is not democratic, it's personal. And manipulators have no authority over your emotional reality unless you give it to them. You must reclaim it. Clarity is your weapon. When the fog surrounds you, anchor yourself in what you know to be true. Write it down, speak it out loud. Defend it not for them, but for you. You are not too sensitive. You are finally waking up. You are finally seeing clearly what they never wanted you to see. They are calm, not because they are right, but because they have rehearsed this game, and you're not playing anymore. The moment you reclaim your interpretation of reality, you rip the mask off their illusion. You stop being the confused puppet and become the clear-eyed observer. Let them say you're overreacting. Let them mock your emotions, but let your clarity cut through their fog like lightning through a storm. Because the truth is this, what you feel is the first line of your truth. And anyone who tries to erase that is not protecting you, they're manipulating you. Number 3, the praise trap. You're the only one who understands me. It begins with a whisper, a secret, a soft gaze, a phrase that feels like a warm hand on your chest. You're the only one who gets me. At first, it feels like intimacy, like closeness, like meaning. Finally, someone sees you. Finally, someone lets you in. You feel chosen, trusted, needed. But step back. Look closer. That praise is not a compliment. It's a collar. This is the praise trap. A dangerous illusion masquerading as connection. It isn't designed to elevate you. It's designed to bind you. Because once you believe you're the only one, you begin to carry weight that was never yours. Their pain becomes your mission. Their healing becomes your burden. Their chaos becomes your responsibility. And suddenly, you are not in a relationship. You are in a rescue mission, a soul merger you never signed up for. Nietzsche saw this twisted martyrdom and warned, he who lives for others lives dangerously. And not just because it's exhausting, but because it slowly annihilates the self. Manipulators know this. They know how to weaponize praise, not to build you up, but to tear you open, to make you feel indispensable. So you will tolerate more, bend further, stay longer. The more they praise your empathy, your patience, your loyalty, the more they test its limits. They'll say, you're the only one I can talk to. But what they mean is, I'm going to drain you and you'll feel too guilty to walk away. This isn't love. It's emotional seduction, a subtle takeover masked as admiration. Real appreciation frees you. It makes you feel lighter, more alive, more yourself. But the praise of a manipulator binds you. It demands loyalty, sacrifice, silence. It makes you afraid to disappoint them, afraid to set boundaries, afraid to become anything but their personal emotional caretaker. That's not a compliment. That's a cage. So how do you know the difference? Ask yourself this. Does their praise give me energy or drain it? Does it come with expectations I never agreed to? Does it feel like love or like pressure in disguise? You don't owe anyone your soul just because they say you're special. Be kind, be caring, but never let someone hand you a crown only to turn it into a leash. Your empathy is not their emotional insurance. Your loyalty is not for sale. And your sense of worth should never come from how well you carry someone else's wounds. Because the moment you forget your own needs for the sake of another's praise, you don't just lose yourself. You become trapped in a story written by someone else. And no matter how flattering the opening line sounds, the ending will always cost you more than you ever agreed to pay. Number 4, the silent punishment, the withdrawal game. Not all punishment is loud. Some comes in whispers. Some wears a smile. Some hides behind silence that feels like a blade. This is the withdrawal game, one of the most calculated manipulations in the arsenal of the emotionally strategic. They won't scream. They won't accuse you. They won't even tell you what's wrong. They'll just disappear. Not physically, necessarily, but emotionally. They go cold, numb, distant, like the warmth was sucked out of the room. You ask, are you okay? They say, I'm fine. But their tone says, you should know what you did. The chill sets in. You feel the pressure to fix something you can't see, to smooth something they won't name. And this is the trap, because you weren't wrong, but they want you to feel like you were. Their silence isn't absence, it's control. A quiet punishment designed to keep you in your place. They retreat, so you will chase. And the moment you start chasing, apologizing, bending, you reinforce the power of their withdrawal. Now they know, all they have to do is disappear, and you'll come running, begging, bleeding peace offerings just to earn back their warmth. Nietzsche said, "The most common lie is the lie one tells to oneself." And in this case, the lie is devastating. Maybe it's better to just apologize than be abandoned. But this is how the game consumes you. You begin to fear the cold more than you respect your own truth. You start performing to avoid punishment, not out of love, but out of anxiety. And what begins as silence becomes a leash you tie around your own neck. But here's the brutal truth. It's better to be alone with your integrity than surrounded by silence you have to pay to break. It's better to walk through the storm than shrink yourself for fake peace. You must learn to let their silence echo. Let it ring out in the air like a bell of truth. Don't chase them. Don't explain yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you. Don't beg to fix a wound they refuse to name. Let them sit in the cold they created. Because silence, when used to control, is not communication. It's emotional warfare. And if you keep running to fill the silence, you will slowly erase yourself. You are not here to beg for connection. You are not a servant to someone else's moods. You are not responsible for healing someone who punishes you with absence. Your peace is not a bargaining chip. It is a fire, one that must never be extinguished to keep someone else warm. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is to let the silence remain. Let it reveal who they really are and remind you of who you refuse to become. Number 5. The insecurity mirror. They project, you bleed. They accuse you of things they're doing. They say you're selfish while draining you. They say you're dishonest while lying to your face. This is projection. And projection works when you still have doubts about your own worth. Nietzsche observed, "Whenever I climb, I am followed by a dog called ego." Manipulators unleash their ego's dog on you, biting, barking, accusing. But it's never really about you. Know this, the accusations are confessions in disguise. Stay grounded. Reflect, yes, but don't absorb lies just to keep the peace. A mind secure in its values cannot be swayed by someone else's insecurity. If this is already hitting deep, pause for a second, because right now, you're waking up. You're starting to notice patterns in faces you've known for years. This awakening isn't easy, but it's the beginning of something powerful. If this knowledge is opening your eyes like this video, and if you want to keep uncovering the dark psychological truths that shape your world, subscribe now, because what comes next is even darker and more empowering. Let's keep going. Number 6, the moving goalpost. You're never enough. You do what they ask, then the goal changes, then it changes again. They always find something wrong. Your tone, your timing, your attitude. You try harder, they get colder. Nietzsche warned, "Whoever despises himself still respects himself as one who despises." This tactic breeds self-loathing. You start thinking, if I were better, maybe they'd finally approve. But the game is rigged. It's not about you improving, it's about you chasing. The answer? Stop playing. Define your own metrics. Let your worth be decided by your values, not their ever-changing moods. When you stop chasing approval, you begin living with purpose. Number 7, the controlled chaos, creating drama, then playing victim. Some people don't seek peace. They seek theater, a battlefield of emotions where they are both the attacker and the audience. They provoke you with subtle insults. They twist your words, question your intentions, push your limits. Then when you finally react, when the flame touches air, they step back and cry, "Why are you attacking me?" This is the tactic of controlled chaos. A manipulation so cunning that, by the end, you're the one explaining, defending, apologizing. But pause, breathe, and look at the architecture of this mind game. They light the match, they throw it at your feet, and when you try to stomp out the flames, they scream, "Look at how violent you are." This is not misunderstanding, it's orchestration. Nietzsche warned us, "He who fights monsters must take care not to become one." Because in trying to defend yourself from a manipulator's fire, you risk becoming what they accuse you of, angry, unstable, irrational. And that's the goal, to blur the roles, to turn you into the monster while they stand cloaked in innocence. They don't want resolution, they want reaction. Because in your reaction, they gain power. So what's the way out? Do not play the part they've cast for you. Refuse to engage. Refuse to clarify every lie. Refuse to clean up the mess they designed for you to drown in. Because the more you defend yourself, the deeper you sink into the quicksand of their chaos. Let them perform. Let them twist the narrative. Let them set fires and dance in the smoke. But do not step into the arena. You are not obligated to explain yourself to someone who created confusion just to watch you suffer in it. Your silence will be misunderstood. Your absence will be blamed. But your peace will be power. Because walking away from chaos isn't weakness. It's strategic dominance. It's refusing to be manipulated by drama disguised as vulnerability. They want an audience. They want to fight. They want to weaponize your decency. So give them nothing. Let the fire burn without your oxygen. Let them play victim in an empty theater. Let them unravel in the silence of your absence. Because sometimes the strongest stance is stillness, and the deepest form of revenge is peace. Number 8. The isolation net. It's us against the world. This sounds romantic at first, but it's strategic. They subtly pull you away from friends, family, community. They make you feel like no one else understands you but them. Nietzsche stated, "Invisible threads are the strongest ties." These invisible threads are spun by manipulators, made of dependency, secrecy, and emotional blackmail. Before you realize it, you're alone. Your identity has shrunk to one person's approval. This is not love. This is a cage. The antidote? Rebuild your tribe. Keep people in your life who remind you who you were before the manipulation began. Connection must be chosen, not forced. Number 9. The pity weapon. The eternal victim. No matter what happens, they suffer more than you. Your pain is dismissed. Their problems are louder. You try to speak, but somehow they're the one crying. Nietzsche noted, "There is always some madness in love, but there is also always some reason in madness." Manipulators twist that madness into a shield. By being the perpetual victim, they are never accountable. You end up walking on eggshells around their emotions, afraid to hurt them, even when you're the one bleeding. Stop. Their sadness does not absolve their toxicity. You can be compassionate and still draw a line. You are not responsible for saving people who are actively sinking you. Shadows can only manipulate you when you refuse to shine a light. Now you've seen the darkness. Now you know the 9 weapons they use. Now you're no longer defenseless. You are the storm. You are the flame that won't go out. You are the chain that does not break. Now ask yourself, which of these 9 tactics have you fallen for the most? Drop it in the comments. Let others know they're not alone. And if you're ready for even deeper truths, the next video will show you how to turn manipulation into mastery, using philosophy as your weapon. Like, subscribe, share. Not for vanity, but because someone out there is still trapped in silence, and your action could break their chains. Now, write this in the comments. I will no longer be played. I see through the mask, and I choose my mind.